you don't. Welcome, I'm Jessica, this is Alan. Alan came to me many years ago to my basics class at JIVAMUKTI Yoga, and we have had an adventure ever since, to say the least. In the pandemic, we actually decided that getting Alan to move a little bit every day was far more beneficial than trying to do sort of one big yoga class a week, especially when we were all, stuck inside and our mobility was limited anyhow. So that really gave rise to this series of smaller, more focused yoga practices, which you can practice again and again as you get used to the movements and feel yourself improving each time you repeat a lesson. Or you can go through them as a series, going through sort of each area of practice or each area of the body one day at a time. So we're going to start today with feet and balance work, which can be really tricky. So take it slow and feel free to skip anything for now that feels a little bit out of reach. You can always reapproach it later once you've gained a little bit more strength and confidence. So we're going to start with the feet just a little bit wider than you might normally stand. Feet as parallel as possible. And we're going to roll towards the pinky toe edge of the feet and really exaggerate so that the big toe side of the foot lifts up, and roll to the big toe side. The knees will probably move in towards each other. Keep going side to side. If it is already challenging to balance while doing these side to side actions, you're welcome to put one hand on a wall, or you can even sit in a chair and roll the ankles in and roll the ankles out. And keep going. Yes, you can hang on to me. I'll be your wall anytime.
So you can do that.
And then we're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to roll to the balls of the feet and the heels of the feet. Now, again, at first this might feel very challenging for the balance. So again, you can feel free to touch a wall, or again, you can do these while sitting in the chair at first and really just mobilizing the ankles as best you can. Yep, that's it. That's it.
Not easy.
And if you are using a wall or a chair, keep in mind that at first you might have to rely on it quite a bit, but over time you want to sort of lessen your reliance on the chair by touching the chair a little bit lighter every time you go. Fingertips are a nice progression for that. That's it. Okay, let's come back to the center. Now, feet more together. Bend the knees, but keep the chest upright as best you can, and then straighten the legs. And bend, and straighten. Bend as much as you can go while keeping heels down and the chest up, and straighten, and bend, and straighten. Now, rise up onto the balls of the feet, lift high. That's it, and lower, that's it. Good, lift high up onto the balls of the feet as best you can. Even if it's not perfect, try to lower down very slowly. Good, lift. It might not happen perfectly every time, that's not even the goal. The goal is to just get moving, yeah? Good. That's it. And the more flexible and strong the feet and ankles are, the better our balance and also our ability to sort of catch ourselves when we're in motion. Good. Okay. So now bend the knees. Place your hands on your knees. And feet and ankle mobility also rely on knees and hips mobility. So we're going to work on that as well. So start to circle the knees. Keep in mind, this is again really for the ankles. So notice how the feet really want to move move around as you circle the knees. And let them, allow for a lot of movement in the ankles and feet in this one. And then,
if you're old enough, you'll remember this movement is called the hokey pokey.
and then go the other way, switch directions. Good, that's it. Stand all the way up. And now let's take one foot slightly forward. So you're just going to take kind of a relatively comfortable step. And then bend both knees. Oh, try to keep the back heel down. Good. And then straighten. And then rise up onto the balls of the feet. Whoop. Straight legs, that's okay. And heels down. Bend. Straighten. Heels up. Heels down. Good. Bend. Straighten. Heels up. Heels down. Good. Don't worry. That's all part of the process. It's not really even about perfection of the movement. It's about giving the body lots of kind of different movements in space so that it can better adapt to our weight changing and to our body moving through space. All right, let's switch sides. So other foot in front, and again, Alan's been doing this a long time, but you can touch a wall or you can touch the back of the chair if you like. Bend, straighten, lift heels up, and heels down. Good.
That's what happens after a long time.
Yeah, stepping out of it is just part of it. Good. Lift, and lower, and bend, and extend, and raise heels up. That's it. Good. Keep going. Lower, bend, heels up, and lower. Good. That's great. Okay. So go ahead and touch the back of the chair with your right hand for me. Turn to face this way. Okay. Take one leg out in front of you. Doesn't matter which one yet. And we're going to roll the ankle. So make big, big circles with your ankle. One direction. If the balance is too tricky, you can sit in a chair and do ankle rolls. So you're trying to draw like the biggest circle with your big toe that you can in all directions. And then go the other way if you haven't already. Good. Let's do the other leg. So other foot points forward. And then again, take big circles. So watch a little bit. Sometimes there's the temptation to move the hip around to compensate for the ankle. Really try to keep the rest of the leg quite still as you make ankle circles. Good. And then go back the other direction.
Contrasting nail polish is not mandatory.
We do sort of have complementary situations going on. Good. Okay. So now, if you've made it this far, congratulations. We're going to start to take all of that ankle mobility sort of into action. So roll all the way to the outer edges of the feet and see if you could take 20 steps around the room. You don't have to limit yourself to the yoga mat. You can walk all the way around the perimeter of the room. If this is, again, too challenging, you could walk forward and back along a wall and put one hand against the wall for support. Aim for about 20. Less is fine, more is fine. I know it feels awkward and strange, maybe even a little silly. That's okay. And then we're going to switch and go to the inner foot. So we'll walk, more or less 20 steps or so around the room. Feel free to move off your mat
This, of course, is easier because you're pulling your weight into yourself.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good observation. It's very interesting.
No less silly, but
Still silly, still feeling silly. Well, don't worry, the silliness, well, with Alan, the silliness never ends. we tend to get a bit silly with each other. Okay, rock all the way up to the balls of the feet, 20 steps or so on the balls of the feet. Again, the option here is to walk along the wall and using the wall for a little bit of support while you get used to the movement. Alan's been doing this for a long time, and keep in mind, we have been working 5 days a week, a little bit every day for all 3 years now, plus Alan was taking classes before then as well at the yoga studio. So, okay, oh, last one. Heels at the feet. Heels at the feet. It's nice to do that at a time of day when your neighbors are already awake, so that you're not waking up the downstairs neighbor. Feeling free to use support as needed. I'm going to have you stand right in front of this chair here. Facing. Okay, feet wide. Okay, so for the next practice, we're going to practice coming as close to the chair as possible without letting the seat press into the chair and then standing back up. So it's a preliminary exercise for squats. So go ahead, start to bend the knees. And see if you can stop like right before the chair and then stand right back up. And look, even if it so happens that as you're going down, the weight does go into the chair, that's okay. Stand up, try again. Each time you do it will build the exact muscular strength that we need in order to make this movement possible. So go ahead, slow squatting down. Try to control the movement in such a way that you can stand back up when it's time. That's it. And progressively getting closer and closer to the chair to the point where you can keep going. To the point where maybe you can even like feel the surface of the chair just barely touching the buttocks and then stand back up. Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
Why was that funny?
Just, you know, just that it's a difficult movement. It's right on cue. We actually planned it that way. No, we did not. But anyway, it goes to show that it is not just an easy breezy movement. Go ahead, do 3 more, let's say.
Hands for balance.
Using the hands for balance, that's an excellent point, yes. At first, maybe you try just 1 repetition, and then tomorrow you try to do 2, right? And when 2 starts to feel more doable, maybe you add another repetition. But again, Alan's been doing this for quite some time with me, so he's used to me. No, don't try to sit down now. I'm going to take the chair away. So Alan does a full squat almost every single day. So his hips have gotten so strong and so flexible. But it all starts with this chair program. Okay, the next thing is another potentially silly feeling one. We're going to take the biggest, slowest... Oh, yes, please.
This exercise is really good to practice if you have to pick something up. Instead of doing that, if you just do that.
Alan loves to show how he picks things up off the floor. And it's really a useful range of motion, especially for, very functional day-to-day activities. So I think it's great. But again, Alan didn't start that way, keep in mind. So what you just saw was years of cultivation. So the next thing is, imagine you want to take the slowest and largest steps around the room, almost like you're the green giant from Jack and the Beanstalk. You want to reach out with one foot, take a big, slow step forward. Again, you might need support at first, so if you can run along a wall, you're welcome to. Otherwise, you can move around the room and you're trying to take big, gigantic, jolly green giant steps around the room. So this is really quite good.
This is not easy.
Not easy. Not easy at all. And I want to emphasize taking the biggest step that you are capable of today, right? So that means maybe it's starting smaller for today and then growing over time.
Easier.
Yeah. And then gradually increasing the difficulty so that you're really not only reaching out with the front foot, but then practicing shifting the weight over it to release the back foot. So not only is this incredibly good for balance from the perspective of the muscles, it's also incredibly good for balance from the perspective of the equilibrium systems of the eyes and the ears and the central nervous system. In fact, there are studies showing that taking big, slow, exaggerated movements actually helps our central nervous system, even in cases where there might be a central nervous system pathology. So try it out, even if it's challenging. Start small, do what you can with the intention of increasing over time. Yeah, even those moments where Alan is catching himself, those are actually good moments because it means that the system is all working together. The muscles, the equilibrium, the balance, to help us, especially in cases where we lose our balance, which happens out there in our day-to-day life. Okay, now, Alan's favorite, we're going to practice tree. So, Alan, go ahead and come to the center of your mat. Alan loves practicing tree. So let's show first where with a little bit of support and with simply taking one foot away from the floor to balance. Bend your knee, bend your knee. That's it. Start with a manageable amount, perhaps using the chair or a wall for support. And then go ahead and switch sides, but stay on your chair. And at first, you might need to grip the wall or the chair more, but then over time, see if you can have less and less support from the chair. Okay. And then, when you've been practicing as long and as diligently as Alan has.
And at one point said, I will never be able to do this. On every exercise I think we've ever done, I have said, I will never be able to do that.
And
I meant it.
And that's one of the best things that I've also learned from Alan is listening to that voice in your mind that says, I won't ever be able to do this, and just taking one small action in that direction. And look, the amount that we've been able to increase in the last 7 years I've known you, or however long it's been, 7, 8 years. So now Alan will probably rejoice to show
How I can stand on one foot for a moment.
For a moment is okay. In fact, as you go about it, just count to yourself and say you count to 3 on one side. Try to count to 3 on the other. And then after some time, maybe count to 5.
Sometimes it's easiest to just do this.
Oh, that's an interesting variation. Show us that one.
Well, you're still balancing. But it sort of feels as if it's easier. With that.
He's really got it. Loves to balance on one leg now. Great. Okay, last things. Let's lay down on the back.
On the back.
On the back.
I'm trying to do this gracefully.
That movement has come from our work together. More on that later. In terms of standing up and coming down to the floor. Anyhow, if it's too much to come to the floor, you can of course lay on a bed or anything you like. Cross the right ankle over the left knee. And then reach the right arm through the space between the legs and hold onto the left leg with both hands. That's it. So the left foot is lifting off the floor. The head and shoulders are trying to relax down. You might even use the right elbow pushing against the right knee a little bit to kind of push the hip a little more open. And then last things here. With the left foot, imagine you have a marker coming out of the left big toe. Try to draw the alphabet with your right foot. Yeah. Try to make it all come from the ankle though. So less knee, more ankle. Yeah. It can be uppercase, it can be lowercase.
I'm doing uppercase.
It can be cursive, it can be Sanskrit alphabet, it can be Russian alphabet, it can be Hebrew alphabet, it can be any characters you like. The idea being that we're strengthening the ankles even in all the multitude of directions that the ankle is capable of going. So not just, you know, front to back, side to side, but now we're really working the ankle in all the directions.
This is R if you're keeping track.
If you're not keeping track, then that's it.
No, that's X. Y.
I meant that's it as in you've got it now. All right, switch your feet.
Those are the words you always have to wait for. Switch.
Switch. The magic words. Freedom. Okay, so same thing other side. The right foot is off the floor and then we're moving the right foot in all the directions, trying to create an alphabet with the right foot.
This time I'm going to do it in French.
Yeah, feel free to be creative about that part. Don't mind about that.
French alphabet is exactly the same.
Oh. No extras?
Just pronounced differently.
Ah. Wow. Now we've exposed that I don't speak 3 words of French. Concentration.
And the breathing.
Right. We will get to the breathing.
Okay.
Okay, great. So, if you found parts of this video difficult, feel free to try them again. And we will, we hope that you will join us for the next in this series, which will focus on hips.
May I get up now?
You make it up. So thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you join us for the rest